Alright guys, very excited to bring y'all this video. And I will say, let me be completely honest. I am not going to sit here and act like I am a fantasy expert in baseball. I'm not going to sit here and act like I am a fantasy god. So if I say anything in this video that you disagree with, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'm going to continue to try my best to bring on some very smart people to talk to y'all. Because while I love baseball, while I love fantasy sports, I think that we are going to kind of stick to our specialty when we can. And there are some simple things that I can come out here and talk about. Some simple historical trends that we can try to identify. And we can try to take advantage of it. But I'm not going to get down to the smallest little detail. I'm not going to be able to get as advanced as most people. So because of that, the majority of the time, I will be bringing on an expert to talk to y'all. And I'll just kind of be playing host, asking questions, and trying to learn with y'all. But yeah, in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you 4 or 5 players that I think right now are being overdrafted in fantasy baseball. And in my drafts, I'm going to be looking to avoid them. But like I said, let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know why I am wrong about player X, because I'm going to be talking about guys that are going at the very top of drafts. So yeah, I know we're going to get a ton of hate. I don't care. Let me hear your opinion. And also, while you're down there, make sure you go and you hit that subscribe button. But anyway, I want to put a massive disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I am not saying do not draft these players under any circumstance. What I'm saying is do not draft these players at their current ADP, because at this price point, really, you don't have a ton of room to try to hit that home run, to try to go out there and win your league based off of where they're going. I think they're being drafted a little bit closer to their ceiling rather than their median projection. So that is going to be what this entire video is about. And actually, what this entire video is about is me going through and me kind of debunking the 2020 MLB season. We all know, if you've been following Major League Baseball, that 2020 was a wreck. 2020, in my opinion, was something that we need to just kind of throw out the window. I mean, if you were playing fantasy baseball, you understand how sample sizes work. You understand that if we're looking at a 2019, 2018, 2017 season where a hitter was able to go out there and see over 600, maybe just say 550 at-bats, that is going to be significant. That is going to hold a ton of weight. And over that large of a sample, we can say, you know what? We kind of know who this player is. We kind of have a decent understanding on where they should be valued and what we should be expecting from them. But in 2020, I mean, we did not get that type of sample. We saw a lot of people going up there and seeing about 200 at-bats, which is not nearly enough, because we know that throughout the course of the season, you can go out there and you can have a very hot stretch where maybe for a month you are having ridiculous numbers for whatever reason it is. Maybe it's just the small sample factor going into it, or on the exact opposite end where you can go into that shortened season and maybe a month out of the shortened season, you just can't get it going. For whatever reason, nothing you try is working, and in a regular year, you'd be able to fix the problem and you'll be able to get your numbers back up to par in what you would be expecting over an entire season. But when you're only playing so many games, when the season is cut in less than half, really, these players didn't get that opportunity. So I think what we need to be doing, if we are trying to build out projections and we are trying to kind of look at what to expect from these guys in 2021, is we need to be looking at the 2019 season, not the 2020 season. So let's look at a few players where it's night and day, the difference between 2019 and 2020. So our first player that we are going to talk about is going to make a lot of people upset with me, because he's going at the end of round 1 right now. And this is Freddie Freeman. Okay, so Freddie Freeman, we all understand, yes, I mean, he is an elite fantasy asset. He is right up there with a Christian Yelich and where they are being drafted. And that is why I can't be advising you to take Freddie Freeman. That's why he is being overdrafted, especially considering the fact that he plays first base for the Atlanta Braves. That's not necessarily something that we need to be putting a giant priority on. But in 2020, obviously, he had one of the best seasons that you are going to see. Obviously, if it was in full year, you'd be looking at it and going, oh my God, is Freddie Freeman the best player of all time? I mean, it was that solid, but it was only 214 at-bats. And that is the problem that I have with this season, where he went out there and he had a 341 average, a 462 on-base percentage, and a 640 slugging. So I know those numbers are elite. Those numbers pop off the page and you're saying, Mason, shut up, you nerd. None of this matters. It doesn't matter that it was in a small sample. These numbers are so far elite that we are looking at this going, hey, I mean, this is someone I'm drafting and I'm expecting him to be right up there and rival a Mike Trout in anything that I would expect. But no, I can't say that, because if we just go 1 year prior where we actually saw 600 at-bats for Freddie Freeman, I mean, yes, the numbers were fantastic, but the average was over 40 points less. I mean, the on-base percentage was also under about 70 points less. The slugging comes down from 640 to about 549. So it's night and day here, where yes, Freddie Freeman could easily be an elite fantasy asset, and that's what he's being drafted as right now. But I'm not going to be expecting that 2020 season. I'm not going to be expecting him to be the best player on my roster. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if he was a mid-second round pick instead of a late first. So yeah, if you're sitting in the middle of the second round and Freeman falls to you, congrats. I mean, you just got a stud, but don't be taking him in the first round. All right, so now our next player is going to be a big name player that is going at the end of the second round, and everybody's going to hate this. An outfielder for Philadelphia, Bryce Harper. And so, yeah, Bryce Harper, I know a hitter that everybody always wants to get excited for. I know that he hits for power. I know that he is an exciting player to watch, an exciting player, I don't want to say to root for it. We all know that not too many people are rooting for Bryce Harper. But just like Freeman, I mean, very similar in that if we are looking at the difference between his 2019 and 2020 season, it is massive. I mean, average is about the same, where he's hovering around 260 anyway. But if you're looking at his on-base percentage and his slugging, that's where it jumps up to a point where I really don't think it's sustainable. If we look at his 2020 season, he was sitting at about 550 with his slugging and about 420 with his on-base percentage. But you go back a year where we have that larger sample size to go off of, something that we can really try to project for this upcoming season. Those numbers jump down. I mean, not too far, but definitely not in the range that they were last year. Down to 510 on slugging and down to 372 for his on-base percentage. So yeah, I know that Bryce Harper, a big name, an exciting player to watch, but I cannot be drafting him as the second player on my team. If you're playing in a 12-team league, right now he's going at the end of the second round, and I can't be spending that price point. I think his ADP is 20th overall. I would prefer to go with a pitcher in that range. I would prefer to really go with anybody outside of Bryce Harper, just because I think that there are a little bit too many question marks around this overall profile to be investing that high of a pick into. All right, so now our next player is going to be someone that we talked with previously, and this is going to be Manny Machado. And I know, I mean, San Diego, a fantastic lineup. I know you want as many players in that Padres lineup as you can possibly have. On top of that, he's playing at the third base position, which is definitely a position that is hard to come by. So I know a lot of people want to push him up because of positional scarcity. On top of that, based on the great lineup he is in. But please, guys, do not fall into the 2020 small sample trap here either. If we just go back to 2019, Manny Machado had a batting average under 260, an on-base percentage under 340, a slugging hovering around 460 in 2020. I know it was significantly higher. I know he was over 300 for his average. He was over 370 for his on-base percentage and 580 for his slugging. But those numbers can't maintain. Yeah, although it's a great lineup, although it's a position where it's hard to come by value later on in the draft, I just can't be drafting Manny Machado here at the end of the second round right next to Bryce Harper. I mean, I really don't like either one of those two picks. If you're going to tell me that they're going to be the second player that I am taking off the board, the second player that I am building around, Manny Machado can't be that for me. All right, so now our last player that we are going to talk about is going to be also in a fantastic lineup, going to be playing for the White Sox, and this is Jose Abreu. And right now, if we just go through, and y'all know the drill, y'all know what we are going to look to do. Not only is he 34 years old, but if we are looking at the difference between his 2019 stats and his 2020, it is alarming. I mean, in 2020, he was close to a 320 average. In 2019, he was down at 280. In 2020, he was close to a 620 slugging. And in 2019, he was about 500. So yeah, I mean, another player that if we were just looking at last year, you go, oh my God, he's fantastic. He is a fantastic value in drafts right now. But if we just kind of take a step back and go, what really matters here? What is really predictive going forward? I think Jose Abreu is someone that we want to be avoiding. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton, and I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.